Hello everyone, welcome to another video from Fantasy Football Scout. It's the couple of days after game week 1 has ended. All that hype, all that build up. I haven't even got my rank on the screen. No one needs to see that. Gianni, you don't know your rank. You said to me you were avoiding it in the first few weeks of the season.
It's irrelevant, mate. First couple of weeks, like first month. Honestly, I could have got 80 points and I still wouldn't be checking my rank. Okay, maybe I would, but I genuinely never checked my rank early in the season. But you're going to tell me, aren't you?
You've generally got no idea where you are.
No idea. I mean, what is it? How many teams entered? Did we get to like 9-10 million, or is it like 6-7? I don't know. No, 8.5. I'm just looking now.
8.5 million. You got a score of 61. Where do you reckon that put you? The average, I see the average points was 57.
Okay, so I should be about half. So I'm going to go just under 4 million.
Pretty much, yeah. 3.2.
What am I?
3.2 million after game week 1.
Yeah, but 5 points better, and I'm probably at 1.5, and 5 points off, I'm probably at 5. So it's just so small margins at this point.
It's a big average points, isn't it? I think.
Is it although game week 1 we always get goals, don't we?
We do, yeah. But I mean, the template did well broadly.
It did.
You know, people are.
Thank God Liverpool didn't keep a clean sheet because all the Robbo owners as well.
Well, exactly. I mean, players like Diaz obviously kind of failed and stuff, but it got off to a good start. Arsenal defenders came in, Martinelli, for example. Then you had Haaland. I mean, the Spurs players didn't do well, so we'll talk about those in a bit. But I think broadly speaking, people from Twitter and people from Scout are kind of around about the 60 mark. I can confirm I'm not around the 60 mark. I'm lower than that, but it's game week 1. It's fine.
So your rank isn't actually on screen. So when are you going to put it on? The week you overtake me?
Well, I'm gonna start doing my own team selection video on the Thursday. So I figured because last year I had some comments from people about there's no point really me having my rank on the screen because this is your team selection.
That's fair enough.
I'm trying to draw attention. Although obviously, if I had a game week rank of like 100,000, then I'd probably put it on the screen. But yeah, let's talk about that. All right, we're going to talk about game week 1 in a second. We're going to talk about your plans for game week 2. But before we do that, let's just have a quick talk about Spitch. So Spitch was at Fest. Very kindly, free drinks for all, and a lucky person won a trip to New York, which was amazing. If you haven't got involved in Spitch, do download the app, give it a try. There's a link in the description. If you don't know what Spitch is, it's essentially a different kind of fantasy football game. There's some very different rules. There's no captain, for example. You take your best 5 game weeks from the season, and that becomes your kind of your total if you're playing in the season game. There's a free game, there's a paid for version as well, and also loads of different things are rewarded: interceptions, tackles, basically everything that goes onto a match is all kind of logged in the game. So if you're looking for something a little bit more in depth with a slightly different kind of rule set to FPL for sort of suits the kind of engaged managers, do give Spitch a try. As I said, there's a free season mode which is on the screen right now, and there's a paid version as well for £5.
I spoke to some people at Fest about the scoring system, and absolutely love it because it's a little bit like the bonus point system on FPL. And not many people know what the bonus point system is, but look, guys, FPL bonus point system is 32 different metrics. It's very comprehensive, and it's not the same. The reason it's the same players getting 3, 2, and 1 each week, the likes of Cancelo and Reece James both clocked 2 at the weekend, despite not getting a goal involvement. It's because these guys are bonus points magnets, and the guys that are bonus points magnets are often the Spitch magnets because it rewards things like interceptions, tackles, successful passes, dribbles, all that jazz.
Yep. Excellent. Yep, definitely give it a try. It's definitely worth playing. As I said, just link in the description below. And yeah, let us know in the comments what you think about it as well. We'll be interested to know now the season started, people can start playing it and we can get all your feedback and comments on the app. Excellent stuff. Right. Okay, so let's have a look at how you got on in game week 1. I mean, we do already know because your game week rank is exactly the same as your overall rank, so people can already see. 61 points for you, though, this week. It's Ward in goal with 1, Trent with 1, Perisic with 1, Neco Williams with 0. Big at the back.
Strong.
Big at the back, baby. But Cancelo did come in with 7. Then it gets better. Martinelli came in with 8. Salah captain with 24. Bailey, pre-season bandwagon Bailey, not doing too much, but just 2. Then Haaland with 13. Gabriel Jesus with 2. And Kane with 2. So it's pretty average week. I mean, just above the average. reliant on a couple of players performing, the two big guns, Salah and Haaland. Martinelli came in and Cancelo. So 4 returns. Everyone else blanked. How you feeling?
Yeah, all right. I look at this and go, I know there was a compromise with Threemium, and I always knew that. And I know that means you're going to be starting the 4.0 defender or Bailey, your 4.0 keepers. I thought that was a good compromise for Threemium, and I still do, but there is a way of getting to Threemium without going 11.5 forwards. And we'll talk more about that later. If Kane, for example, went down to a 9 or 9.5 option, it gives me a little bit more money elsewhere. And I think with hindsight, I need to cover that Arsenal or that Chelsea backline, whether that's a Ramsdale or a Zinchenko or a Reece James or a Mendy. And I probably aren't going to be able to cover both those teams. Maybe I can. I definitely think I want to cover one of them because Arsenal and Chelsea both look like they're going to be very strong at the back. And we probably knew this pre-season, but I think we know that even more after one game week. And then it means your likes of Williams is a bench players rather than squeezing into your starting 11 every now and then. But look, I'm fairly happy. Like Kane on another day gets points, but every team has a player or two who will look back at the weekend and go, could have had more from that guy. Perisic, we knew wouldn't start. You and I both knew that going into game week 1. We're not, we didn't miss it. It was very clear. The local journos were saying Perisic wouldn't start, and we trusted them, trusted sources saying that. We saw the bib photos, but still we both went with Perisic. And I saw your post as saying perhaps it was naive to do that on your part. I genuinely am happy with that decision. I knew it would be a 1-pointer likely, and I know there's a good chance he doesn't start against Chelsea. But I bought Perisic from game week 3 onwards, and I think I'm saving a transfer on everyone else there. So I'm happy to take that hit. I could have sold Perisic and bought an Aston Villa defender who got 1 point, I could have gone Walker or Trippier, got 6 or 7, or Zinchenko who got whatever, but who knows? I was never planning on doing that, and I'm happy there.
Yeah, I mean, Perisic is a funny one. I just got set in wanting him, and I'll talk about this in my video on Thursday, and I just couldn't justify. I don't know why, but I made other sacrifices in order to keep Perisic. I was like, well, if Perisic's a doubt, then I better take out some of my other doubts, and one of those was Kulusevski. So in the end, keeping Perisic probably cost me quite a lot.
Yeah.
And you're right. I think it was in hindsight fairly obvious to know that he wasn't going to start, and the question mark is now what do you kind of do with him? I mean, the way you're set up is an interesting one because obviously you've got your 3 expensive players, and then you've got Bailey there as well, who you've probably got another few weeks out of him before you need to worry about him. But he probably is going to be a problem for you at some point. Perisic as well. I mean, if he doesn't start against Chelsea, doesn't start against Wolves, how long do you give him before we do have to move him on? And then you've got your kind of rotation in Williams, Pereira, Patterson, and Reed, which is interesting. So you talked about downgrading Kane. Probably looking at the team, probably feels like you might need to do that just to strengthen that final position, right? Although Pereira looked good, I thought good.
Pereira looks like the sort of guy when he has good fixtures, especially at home, he ain't someone for your bench. I really think with Harry Wilson out of that team, the reliance on Pereira from set pieces and just to be a creator for Mitrovic, who will get tons of goals. I think Fulham, for example, this week against Wolves will win. I think Fulham go into that with a bit of momentum. And I know it's at Molineux, but I think Pereira in that game, you probably want him in your 11. Pereira and Nico Williams actually rotate okay. And Patterson. So Reed's always going to be third sub, never feature. But all I need is one of Andreas, Patterson and Nico Williams to play each week. I think I'm all right. I don't mind too much. But you're right. Bailey, at some point, his time will run out. The fixture's turning game week 4. And Aston Villa are just disgraceful. Steven Gerrard is a media darling because there's so many Liverpool fans that watch Sky Sports and all the rest of it. Steven Gerrard will never do any wrong, right? In Liverpool fans' eyes, but also many England fans' eyes. Frank Lampard, on the other hand, is the guy everyone wants to hate, right? So Frank Lampard at Everton puts a step wrong and everyone will jump on him for whatever. Gerrard can do no wrong. I look at how those managers are performing and go, Gerrard, you've got an absolute great 11 now. You're spending crazy amounts of money. On paper, that's a very good Villa team versus poor Frank, who's got a dreadful team at Everton, who still kept them up, by the way. And it's Frank that gets the stick. Look, I don't want to turn this into a Gerrard Lampard debate from years gone by, but seriously, Gerrard is massively underperforming in my opinion. Like, sort it out. You've got to go to Bournemouth and get something. And the fact Bailey stayed on the pitch when the likes of Ings and Coutinho came off, yeah, at least he's giving Bailey game time. He's not hooking him early. I think he was one of the few guys that actually stepped up and put in a good shift against Bournemouth.
They don't have any excuses, Villa, because they made their transfer business early in the season. So, signing good quality players. They've got quality all round the team. Now, really surprised to see Watkins not start and Ings.
That was a weird one.
But what really got me was Gerrard after the game, and he does it all the time. He refuses to take any blame for anything that goes wrong, and him saying, it was the quality of the players that let us down. And the quality of the crosses. It's like, how about you set your team up not to cross in for one of the. They're a newly promoted team. They're going to block low, and they've got height, so much height in that side.
Yeah.
How many crosses did they put in that game with none of them even remotely working? Or Dean and Cash pushed so high up the pitch, and they couldn't create anything. And Bournemouth played well and got the deserved win, and they're going to need to be a lot better. Villa.
Saying the quality wasn't good enough. Well, Bournemouth managed to get the quality. And the guy that scored the goal that made it 2-0, Kiefer Moore, is a guy that's played for Rotherham, Ipswich, Torquay, Forest Green, Yeovil, Cardiff and Wigan. Like, come on.
I know. He's always like that. He's not the kind of manager that I'd want to play for if I was a Premier League footballer, because I don't know, he just reminds me of someone when you're doing well, when he's got his arm around you, everything's great, but as soon as things start going badly, I can just imagine him turning on this team, and I think it's going to end badly for him there if the results stay like they are with that, and he's going to end up turning on the team and losing the dressing room, and then he'll be out pretty soon. So he's got a lot of work to do to turn things around. But it's early days.
Gerrard versus Lampard this weekend. Aston Villa.
I know.
Let's see who wins.
I know. It's a big game.
Yeah,
I think, because if Lampard comes out of that trumps, there's going to be serious question marks on Gerrard already, given the amount of money they've spent. And then the fixtures get a lot tougher. Palace, and then it's like United, Chelsea. Tough games. So needs a win. Right, let's see how you're shaped up for game week 2.
I'm excited about game week 2, Az.
This
is all about game week 2. Like the season starts now. Like, we all put so much emphasis on game week 1 and we build our teams, but it doesn't really work for you and I because our teams are a little different. But for those that have gone template, which will be the vast majority of people watching, I expect, game week 2 is where it really starts, because the moves are always different, right? So just like seeing little shifts of play and how teams start to differ from that template will go 12 different ways, right? So it'll be really interesting. Now, a lot will like the idea of rolling a transfer, which is a lovely tactic. A lot have already gone early from Kane to Haaland. If you were on there, I understand that. And you've beat the price drop of Kane and the price rise of Haaland. That makes sense. But there'll be a lot going, I want to target Kulusevski despite the fixtures, or I'm going to go and take a punt on Foden because he looked good on the right-hand side. So there's lots of options now, which is always fun.
Yeah, I'll just read your team out quickly for the thing, and we can get into some of that because you make some good points. It's Ward in goal. It's Trent, Cancelo. Perisic is currently in the starting 11. Talk about him. Yeah. Martinelli, Salah. And then Bailey and Pereira deep already in game week 2, similar to me. And then up top, you're looking pretty healthy. Haaland captain, Gabriel Jesus, and the underperforming Harry Kane.
Threemium, baby.
Threemium and Jesus. With Trent and Cancelo, you just the issues obviously are Bailey and Pereira on this side. On your bench, Iverson, Williams, Patterson, Reed, and nothing in the bank. Let's talk Perisic first. Mm-hmm. You've got him starting. Are you expecting him to start?
I'm going to wait for press conference news and maybe some leaked photos from training and see the bib theory again. If we think he's going to start, I'll start him. If we do think Sessegnon gets the nod, and at the moment it is a 50-50 call, like Sessegnon's done everything right to keep his place. So I'm actually probably saying 60% likely Sessegnon starts, but it's a big game with some very experienced players in that Chelsea team. He might want Perisic's big game mentality for that one. So let's see. If he does start, he'll only get 60. I don't think he gets 90. But look, he's in there for attacking returns. I don't expect a clean sheet. But you've got to be in it to win it, right? So I think I'll probably give him a go if we think there's a chance he starts. If we don't, then I'm actually happy playing Nico Williams or even Patterson. Like, I think both teams there, Forest and Everton, have got a chance of a clean sheet. Like, I think Forest, a bit like Fulham, will be one of these teams, and probably Bournemouth, newly promoted teams. It's the home record that keeps them up. Bournemouth, we saw get a win. We saw Fulham very good at Craven Cottage, unlucky just to get a point. And I think Nottingham Forest will go the same way. I think the home advantage is absolutely key for these teams. So wouldn't be surprised to see them shut West Ham out.
So is the plan to roll them?
No, the
Ooh.
plan isn't to roll.
Ooh.
I think I'm very pleased that I went heavy up top because I think everyone now wants to move towards 3 forwards because there's so many options. I don't have Mitrovic, I don't have Darwin in this team, plus the 3 we've got on screen, right? It's 5 very good options there. Callum Wilson's being talked about, Bamford too. So I think many want 2, maybe 3 forwards. Now to get there, a lot of people need a lot of surgery from defenders and midfield, moving money in that front line. Despite having a poor week with my 3.5 million game week rank, whatever it is.
Oh, shut up. Rub it in.
I am pleased that I've got money in the right areas because I do think having money up front makes it very easy for me to move around, right? So I am thinking this week as...
I know what's coming.
There's going to be a price rise tonight, very likely. We're recording this on Tuesday for Darwin Núñez. Now, if I think there's going to be a price rise tonight, there's a good chance I sell Harry Kane and go Darwin. Now, Kane has brilliant fixtures. We know that. But I just wonder if there's going to be a bit more of a spread of points at Spurs this year with the wing backs, with Son, with Kulu, with Kane. Yet Darwin's the big chance hogger. And Darwin also has amazing fixtures. Palace at home's not bad. United's a great fixture. Great fixture, that. And then it's Bournemouth, Newcastle, Everton. Like, I think I want a little bit of Darwin in there. It gives me 2.4 million. That 2.4 allows me to go Patterson up to James or improve my keeper. It allows me to cover that Chelsea and Arsenal backline that I spoke about at the start of the stream.
Yeah. I want to talk about this as well, because I mean, I think it's pretty harsh, the price rise, price falls this season. I mean, Kane dropping, Haaland rising after what, one day?
Literally.
When they're the same price. I think, you know... I don't know what I really want FPL
I'm
to do.
0.5 down now.
I know. I don't really know what I want FPL Towers to do about it, but I feel like there should be some kind of protection against that kind of thing happening, because I think that is at a stage when you've got people invested and you've got people, bought into the game. You're going to have people who went for Kane and now can't afford Haaland and they lose interest. Yeah. And you can say, that's the game. That's you got to take those risks and stuff, but it just doesn't sit right with me with that. Not after 2 days after game week 1. I think they could have waited and have the price rises later on. I'd be interested to know what people think about in the chat. I mean, Fan Team, for example, is a game that
they advertise it, don't they, on like a set day?
Yeah,
Friday or whatever.
And we're not actually doing any stuff with Fan Team this season, but I do still play the game, and I like the way they do it because they have one set day for price rises. On like I think it's like on the Wednesday or the Thursday or something like that. And to me, I kind of like that in a way. You kind of know what you got, and even if that was a player going up 0.1 or 0.2 or whatever, but kind of knowing when those are going to happen, because it would have caught a lot of people out that move, and it will make a lot of people now not be able to do the move they want to do. And okay, you could say, oh well, screw them, that's our advantage. It's now they've got to take a hit to get Haaland and all that. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on it? Didn't sit right with me.
I mean, I knew Kane was dropping in price, and I still couldn't. And I knew there was a good chance I would want to sell him for Darwin because Darwin had played and I'd seen my team. But I still wasn't willing to do it on the Sunday night. So, yeah, I mean, look, maybe they introduced a freeze for game week 1. Like, that would be a nice rule. It's come game week 2, it starts, but game week 1, or I don't know, or maybe after the first month, like having a little bit of a period of grace might be a shout. But the same way, I guess it does reward us engaged players. If you're watching this video, there's a very good chance you're a member of Scout. There's a very good chance you're checking those price rise websites. Therefore, we have an advantage over the casuals. So we shouldn't complain. But at the same point, a mass market game that wants 10 million managers, maybe to appeal to the casual, things like that maybe need to be taken away or looked at. So yeah, it's a really interesting discussion. And I've no doubt like FPL Towers have probably given it a lot of thought and we'll be having these discussions like us.
I think it's interesting because I just don't know where FPL is kind of sitting at the moment. I mean, it is a game for casual managers. I mean, that is why the prices are the way they are and why people have a lot of the same teams and things, because they want you to be able to have your Trents and your Cancelo and your Salahs and your Haalands and all that and not really think too much about it. And I think that's a deliberate tactic on their part. But then something like the price rise is so, I don't know, so kind of mystical to people who aren't engaged and checking price, rise ups. I mean, people I went to uni with who I still play FPL with, they've got no idea how the price rise works. And when they ask me, I'm just like, well, it's based on some kind of algorithm, but we're not really sure. I mean, Lukaku last year, do you remember him? He just couldn't get a price drop no matter what happened. He was just staying the same price.
Yeah, it's bulletproof, wasn't it?
Yeah, they do lock players at times, when they think it's kind of in the good of the game, but obviously haven't chosen it to do in this case. So yeah, I'd be interested to know what people think. I think they could have.
Yeah, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, I think they could have had a period of grace where they, at least for 3 or 4 days where nothing happened. Just to, because for it to happen, almost before the games have finished, on the Sunday night, the game week's literally just ended, and people might not be thinking about it for a few more days. Anyway, let's know what you think.
So I'm going to save bags of money if I go Kane to Darwin.
Yeah.
Like, Darwin is still 9. I'll be selling Kane for 12.4. Like, what am I going to do with 11.4? What am I going to do with my 2.4 million? Like that's 2 good upgrades in the back line or in goal.
That's a Williams up to James, isn't it, or something like that?
Yeah, exactly. Or I could go Zinchenko and Mendy, for example, and then I've got Arsenal and Chelsea covered, which I like. Likewise, Bailey by game week 3-4, I might be wanting to ship Bailey on and spend, bringing a Grealish, for example. So yeah, it gives me options. I quite like that move. I don't want to sell Kane ahead of Wolves, Forest, Fulham and West Ham, but at the same time, I don't think I can go on forever with Threemium at these price points. Threemium is fine when it's Darwin at 9, but Kane at 11.5 plus Haaland plus Salah, it does make me a little bit weak elsewhere. I'm glad I did it for game week 1 because it gives me plenty of places to move to. And in game week 1, I thought Kane was going to bang versus Southampton, so I was in it for that. But, it allows me to move it around a bit.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Freeman is obviously you can't captain everyone. And when you've got Salah and Haaland in the form that he's already showing, are you really going to captain Kane? I mean, I know they've got Wolves and Forest in the next 2, Fulham in 6, but you're probably not going to go against Salah, are you, in those games? I mean, Salah's got Bournemouth and United over those 2 matches, I think. Yeah,
game week 3 is interesting though, because game week 3, I think Kane is the standout. He is Wolves, Salah has United, and Haaland goes to Newcastle.
Okay.
Perisic captain, baby.
I mean, did you see United?
Yeah, quite. And do we know what Salah did to United last year when I didn't captain him and I went with Havertz and he got the hat? So Salah versus United. You're right. That's a fantastic game. There
are so many problems at that club. It's absolutely unbelievable. And
easiest team to play against in the league, says Roy Keane and Gary Neville.
If McTominay and Fred are the central midfield partnership against Liverpool, they will get humiliated again. And I mean that with maximum disrespect to Fred and McTominay, because that is one of the worst central midfield pairings in the league, genuinely. I think it's an absolute joke that Ten Hag started the season with those 2. And the whole, De Jong thing just reminds me of Fabregas from when Moyes first started. They spent the whole summer chasing a player who's completely unrealistic, and they're not going to get him. And they're going to end up with, Arnautovic and... the guy from Juventus.
Oh yeah, Rabiot can't get anywhere near the worst Juventus midfield for 30 years.
Very strange. It's difficult times for United, and I do sympathise with the fans because it's so frustrating. It must be so frustrating, to have this year after.
They've had their day, mate. They've had plenty of good times. United fans, they deserve it.
Yeah, I don't know. I do feel bad for them. I do have some sympathy. They need a complete clear out.
Well, I know the comments off the back of that. Yeah, please be nice.
I'm trying to be. Everyone says, every video I do is like, Az hates United. Az hates, Chelsea. I don't really hate any side in the league. I just kind of comment on what I see and. Yeah,
I really dislike Man United. They're the one team I really dislike.
Oh, you're definitely going to get hate. You're definitely going to get hate now, Gianni.
As a kid growing up, all my mates supported United and they were winning everything. Like I'm 34. I grew up in the 90s where United were just winning everything. It was horrible.
To end the video, just like every good video should end with, let's talk about a couple of 4 million goalkeepers.
Yes.
You, just like me, went for the old Ward and Iverson. Double up is looking quite good for about 60 minutes, something like that. And then
mate, Brendan Rodgers, he is cruising at 2-0 and he goes and puts Dewsbury Hall's running the midfield, scored a great goal. Let's take him off and put Daka up top. And then Brentford go put De Silva on and boss the midfield, and all of a sudden they're back in the game. Brentford could have won it in the end. Game management. I like Rodgers, but his game management is shocking.
Yeah, I mean, what are you thinking about these two? Because it's difficult. I mean, that was kind of the fixture that I was backing a clean sheet for. I'm not going to
Yeah, me
lie.
too.
I thought as long as Wall comes through with a clean sheet in that, then it's a few points on the
Off to a good
board.
start.
But
Yeah.
no saves, and we've got nowhere to go. I mean, we're stuck with them really, aren't we? Until the wild card. I mean, you've mentioned Mendy, but are you really going to use a transfer or even a
I
hit?
might do Mendy or Ramsdale come game week 3-4 onwards, maybe, because I'm going to have 2.4 mil in the bank. So I do have somewhere to go, actually, but yeah, I mean, it is a goalkeeper transfer, which isn't something we always encourage. But look, the Arsenal-Chelsea games, maybe they're good games for Leicester, because sure, he's going to concede, but he could clock 4 from save points, right? So we could clock 3 from... I'd take 3 pointers very happily. Just don't want the 1 pointers. Southampton, he could keep a clean sheet. You've seen him keep clean sheets before against teams like Brighton. So, yeah, I don't think I'm looking at that goalkeeper transfer just yet, to be fair. Let's give Ward a little bit... Let's give him a little bit of time. But you're right. It was frustrating. And I had Nico Williams, again, Forest, 60 minutes in, they're on a clean sheet. And then that's the difference between the good teams and the not so good teams. When Cancelo or Reece James are on a clean sheet at 60, you're never worried that they're going to concede in the last half an hour. City and Chelsea, they just got the ball. They're not conceding big chances. You're like, yeah, clean sheet's going to be locked here. Yet you've got your Wards and your Nico Williams is on a clean sheet at 60. You're going, when am I going to get that notification on my phone of a goal conceded?
I mean,
because I know it's going to come.
Forest are going to concede a lot of goals if they play like they did against Newcastle. They looked like a team that had been slapped together, during the summer with 15 transfers, which is exactly what they are. So I think for now they're a team to target.
I think they'll score some at home though. And Nico Williams did get forward a lot, even in that fixture. So I'm encouraged by that.
Yep. I think West Ham are a team massively being overlooked. Such a poor performance against City, but going into Forest next, someone like Bowen, I don't know, could be a bit of a differential shout. Cool. Okay, so Nunes potentially in. That's exciting. I know he's going to be on the thumbnail then, or in the title.
It'll be Nunes in or no transfer. It will simply be one of those things. I'm not looking at any other moves.
Yep. Very nice. Cool. Well, it's good to be back, Gianni. Good to be back doing these videos. We'll be back next week ahead of game week 3. But for now, good luck everyone watching, and we'll see you soon.
Good stuff. Thanks, guys.